Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing today? How are you guys doing today? This is Gregory Wiles coming live to you from Houston, Texas, with this inspirational morning talk. For first-time listeners, I'm on Thursdays at 8:45 Central Time. That's our time here in Texas. So yes, the goal is just to bring something a little inspirational to get you through the day. And yeah, so it's another great day here in Houston, man. And man, we are happy here in Houston. We're down to high 90s, mid to high 90s, which is a break in heat for us because we had an extraordinary year of heat this year where we were over the 100-degree mark, 104, 106, 102 for the last about 2 months, like straight. So AC's struggling to keep up. All your grass is brown, but we get a little break now. At least we're in the mid to high 90s as our highs. I know for most people across the country might be saying, wow, that is hot. But for us, that's a break. Portia James, good morning. Good morning. How are you doing? James, Mr. James Porsche, how are you doing, sir? How are you doing, man? How are you doing? Thanks for catching me live, man. Thanks for catching me live today. Mary Barry Austin, good morning, sis. Good morning. How are you doing? How are you doing? Okay. Hey, today what I want to talk about, man. Today what I want to talk about is knowing when to be silent, knowing when to keep our mouth shut, more to speak, right? As Ecclesiastes 3:7 says, there's a time to tear, there's a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, right? So we want to discern, because there's sometimes when we just need to be silent and don't say anything, and sometimes when we need to speak up, but we got to know when is the right time to speak. Especially people in relationships and all of that, you will know there's a time when you just got to keep your mouth shut, because if you only open your mouth at a certain time, it's like throwing gasoline on a fire, all right? So we got to know when to keep our mouth shut and when to speak, man, because this can cause a lot of problems. So a lot of times, something else might affect someone, right? Something else might affect someone. And you're the closest one to them, and they might try to take it out on you. They might try to take it out on you, but you are not their problem. You are not their problem. But because you're the closest one, they try to take it out on you. Now, if you just realize that, I haven't done this person anything, just let me be quiet. Now is not the time to say anything. The only thing that person will have to reflect on is what they say. It's what they say. And most times when they catch themselves, they can realize they may come back and apologize and say, you know what, man, I'm sorry, man. I just unleashed on you, but this was not about you. But if you open your mouth now and speak, now you make it about you. Now you're going to make that about you now, because you're going to be going back and forth with them and they don't have time to just reflect on what they say. Now it's about you. Now you get yourself involved in something that's had nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. And that's why the scriptures now go on and say, let's look at a few more scriptures that can bring out this thing. Let's look at Proverbs 16:24 through 25. Proverbs 16:24 and 25. It said, gracious words are a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones, right? Gracious words. But let's look at the next one. Proverbs 18:13. Proverbs 18:13 said, to answer before listening, that is folly and shame. To answer before listening is folly and shame. It's just like what I'm saying here. Hear some part. If you hear them, what they're saying, you may know how to respond properly, or you may even know, well, this is not the time for me to say anything. So that's why Proverbs 18:13 saying, to answer before listening, that is folly and shame. Because if you really listen to them, you're going to realize this stuff has nothing to do with you. Or you're going to understand what the real problem is. And then you could respond appropriately. Right? So here, be quiet. Be quiet. Don't just jump off right away. That's what Proverbs 21:23 is telling us. Those who guard their mouths and their tongues keep themselves from calamity. Those who guard their mouths and their tongues keep themselves from calamity. And the next thing, if you upset, that's not the time to say anything. That's what this one is saying here. If you get upset, That's not the time to you to be saying anything. That's why Proverbs 17:28 says, even fools are taught to be wise when they keep silent. With their mouth shut, they seem intelligent, right? So there's a time to be quiet. If you're upset, that's not a time to be speaking. That's not a time to be getting in discussions because you are not going to be thinking clearly. You're not going to be thinking clearly at that moment. That's the time, let me be quiet, calm myself down, catch myself, even if it take you hour to hour the next day, when I speak on a clear head, right? Don't just be rushed to words right away and just respond and react to stuff right away, because you could get yourself in a lot of trouble, right? So I just want to remind us, man, as Ecclesiastes 3:7 saying, there's a time to tear and a time to mend, and there's also a time to be silent and a time to speak. Let the Holy Spirit be your guide, and listen to the still voice telling you, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. In jobs, like I teach my son in the basketball, they're doing basketball. Sometimes the coach in the moment might be frustrated and giving him instructions. That's not the time to be giving your opinion and talking back and telling him and proving a point to him. That's not the time to do it. That's not the time to do it. Because he, in the heat of the moment, trying to win a game, he don't want that. But after now, if it's something that really bother you or you see a better way to do it, after the game, after he cooled down, maybe the next day and say, Coach, could I talk to you? I think we could do this better in this moment here, because the play where you run, and then he's in a better place to listen to you and maybe apologize and say, you know what? Yeah, that's true. Let's implement then the next game. And he might be the bigger person to go in front of the team and say, hey, you know what, guys? One of your own teammates point this out to me that, what you guys think? But at the time, in the heat of the moment, when he's trying to win a game and he giving the instructions, that's not the time for you to be talking back to him and telling him he's wrong and all that, because in this cause, because he's the boss right there. He can exercise his authority even though you were right? So we got to let the Holy Spirit be our guide. We got to be sensitive to these things. When is the right time for us to speak up, and when is the right time for us to be silent, right? We can get more bang for our buck. We can make more progress if we master this. There's a time to be silent and there's a time to speak, right? And Proverbs 16:24-25 saying, gracious words are a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones. So sometimes, instead of responding with hate, you might need to respond with love. That's what it's saying, gracious words, right? Gracious words are a honeycomb, is sweet. So instead of responding with hate, sometimes you might need to respond with love in certain situations. But be conscious of it, and let us still voice, which is the Holy Spirit, be your guide, and knowing when to be silent and when to speak up, guys. I'm going to leave that there. Man. Have a great, great day. And we're going to talk again next week. Like I said, if I get something pop up, I might jump on during the week and share with you. But have a great day, man. Yes, James, I like that. Got to humble yourself before you speak. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Okay, bye.